Hello, good afternoon. My name is Nettie Owens and I'm with Sapari Solutions. Today I brought with me Jennifer McGinley of JLM Strategic Communications. Today we're going to be answering the question of what businesses need to know about PR. And this is going to be part of a continuing series, so I hope you'll join us back. I'll be bringing on different guest experts to interview and answer that question of what businesses need to know right now. But we only have a short time here, and I want to make sure that our time spent together is very, very powerful. So before I jump into that, let me tell you a little bit about who I've brought on to share with you. And I just realized I lost there it is, my link. Here we go. So Jennifer McGinley helps CEOs, presidents, and founders, that's you, in healthcare and education, that might not be you, but I'm sure you know someone, to rise above the competition for greater impact. She helps them by creating strategic public relations and media campaigns to increase connections, visibility, and credibility. And I can personally say, having received support from Jennifer, she is the real deal. And in this time, she's been able to help me gain visibility and share what I do across the United States. So I'm really super excited about that. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll jump into the big question of the day.
Yeah, my background is definitely within healthcare and education. I started out back in the early 90s doing media relations and community outreach for community hospitals. Definitely one of my passions is working with journalists and freelancers around the country to, secure a media placement, which is a news article or a live TV interview or a taped TV interview for my clients, because I find it incredibly valuable and incredibly cost effective, and it also increases your credibility level as a leader or an expert within your field. So I've absolutely been thrilled to work with Nettie and taking her unique brilliance and letting, really going global, Canada as well,
Oh, that's right.
national in Canada,
So exciting.
to tell everybody the amazing work that Nettie does as well. And this is one of the things I love to do.
Yeah, well, and it shows because you're absolutely brilliant at it. Your 25 years of experience are showing through. You have expert connections. You know how to get to the right places. And so I'd really like to just dig in right now with the question of what businesses need to know right now about public relations in crisis. We're all kind of reeling here still, and I just kind of want to start out there. What do you think?
I definitely think, and I've been doing a lot of reading, and definitely I get emails every day from my PR colleagues about what's happening. I think the pandemic fatigue is setting in, as well as the Zoom fatigue. Communications can sometimes be tiring, but it's absolutely crucial to stay ahead of the curve. It's really not, it is crisis communications, but we're now moving through the crisis and we need to start preparing ahead 3 to 6 months. I always say have a plan A and a plan B and prepare. So organization.
We're not in a crisis anymore.
No, we're moving through the crisis because you need to think ahead. It's like editorial calendars for magazines. You know what? You need to think 3 to 6 months out now. What is our world going to look like, and plan for that? And it is always, planning is so important for all organizations. And I think if you were unable to plan for the crisis we are currently in, I hope you've learned something so that you can take your efforts and clearly communicate effectively moving forward. And, that starts with internal communications. Everybody in your organization needs to know what's going on at all times. And Nettie knows my favorite phrase is clear, consistent content and communication build a community. Because honestly, every organization is a community into itself. If your organization is not clear on your who, what, why, when, and where, and your purpose and your mission, you cannot move forward and be successful. You can't have silos within your organization, because that's where things will break down. And when leadership is not effectively communicating, that's where the breakdown is. That's where the scarcity mindset comes in and the fear, and you're not going to be productive in your leadership efforts, but also your employees are going to be afraid and so insecure. So I think giving them, a plan of how you're going to be moving forward, reassurance, I think compassion and empathy are also huge attributes of leaders that will rise above this pandemic, really personally.
So part of what you do is communication internally. And honestly, with all the news and everything coming out, it almost feels like, yeah, there's still so much going on, but you're right.
Yeah.
Like, it is time to move on, to make plans, to use what you've learned here. I was about to ask you something about media placement, and then I just realized I would love to find out, have there been some like outstanding shining stars, people who have done this communication really well that we could look to as an example for how to do it, going forward, or when things aren't quite as chaotic?
Yeah, I did watch an interview on CNBC last week, and it was for Tyson, the food company, with their poultry. And unfortunately, they did an ad today that was a little bit off brand and a little bit mixed messaging. But when I watched the gentleman, and I'm forgetting his name, and I'd written it down, I apologize.
Well, I've sprung this question on you.
Yeah, no, that's okay, because I wanted to shine the bright light on the leaders that are doing a great job. But he did such a good job about talking about how he's going to take care of his employees moving forward and what physical things they're going to do to the plants to keep their employees safe. So our food chain is not messed up right now.
Right. Oh, that's really important. I mean,
so that's, yeah, it is. It's very important. And yeah, exactly. And I think also the Y of Central Maryland, their CEO has done a really beautiful job of wonderful emails out to the community, being grateful and thankful. He did a great town hall meeting I attended, and his compassion and warmth was just coming right through that Zoom call, and how grateful he is. He's just a leader that you almost feel like you've known him forever, because he was so calm and clear and compassionate. And that, to me, are great characteristics of a solid leader.
A lot of times, and this is going to have to be a short answer, it's like lightning round, right? And then we'll find out how to continue to communicate with you. And I can bring you back on, because, obviously 10 minutes is not enough time to
we can talk all day.
But a lot of people will put PR on the back burner, and especially large organizations, they either think they can do it themselves, or if they could just like follow the trends or something like that on their own, they're going to get the same results. But what is the benefit of having somebody dedicated to this, external to your organization?
Yeah. That's such a great question. And I love the new-ish term called insourcing, so that if your organization cannot hire to have a PR staff, I've always worked with one or two of us anyway, so it's been very kind of shoestring budget. But marketing and PR is usually the first thing to go. The problem with that is you're going to be lacking in your visibility, your consistency, and your messaging. When organizations go dark, you don't assume the best, you assume the worst about them. And you think that something's going wrong. And that's the same for internal communications. If you're not effectively communicating with all of your shareholders, your trustees, your alumni, your students, your employees, you're going to assume the worst.
Right. But when people are assuming the worst when they're not hearing anything at all.
Yes.
I hate to cut you off. I think this is great. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to encourage people to connect with you on your LinkedIn page. If what Jennifer's saying is striking a chord with you, if you'd like to know more, if your organization currently has either in-house PR and could use more support, or if you don't have PR and you're looking at like, how are we being perceived in the community? What message are we sending out? Please find a time, connect with Jennifer, and I know you won't be disappointed. All right, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Nettie Owens signing off, and we'll be back again tomorrow for yet another interview on what businesses need to know right now.